Coming up now that Hillary Clinton has thrown in the towel or suspended it anyway, what happens to the nearly 18 million who so fervently supported her bid for the White House? Can Barack Obama rally Hillary's base? We'll find out in just a bit. With world leaders looking to the oil czars of OPEC for help from, or at least an explanation to, the historically high prices kicking us in the back pocket and in the gas tank, today they may just have their answer: Iran. OPEC's second largest supplier has blamed the double-digit jump in the price of a barrel of oil on, yes, the weakening dollar, but also on a comment made by a senior Israeli official just this past Friday, quote, "If Iran continues with its program for developing nuclear weapons, we will attack it," end quote. So, rising Middle East tensions affect the price of oil? Who knew? Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert did distance himself from those comments yesterday, but he did not explicitly reject them. So, distance, yes. Rejection, no. What's the difference? I don't know. Well, last week, Iran's president said that Israel would, quote, soon disappear. That's nothing new and has repeatedly called for that country's extinction. This most recent rhetorical aggression is another reminder that the Middle East will undoubtedly be a central focus of not only this campaign, but also the next administration's first 100 days. So, who's the guy best equipped for this dogfight? Joining me now is Joel Rosenberg, author of Dead Heat and founder of the Joshua Fund. The average American, I would bet you, if we walked out in the street, maybe not here in Manhattan, but I think middle America, would not say Iran first if you asked them why the price of oil was so high.
Iran and their feverish attempt to build, buy, or steal nuclear weapons is the #1 threat in the Middle East. And Israel's deputy prime minister is now saying it looks as though war with Iran may be unavoidable. That's the comment that seems to have driven up the price of oil, and understandably so. I think a confrontation very well may be coming. Whether it's this year or next, it means the stakes are very high for who we select as the next commander-in-chief.
Okay, so we've got two people now. The presumptive nominees are McCain and Obama, both senators. Both have Washington addresses. They both claim they're going to bring change, which is not true. How do they deal with, individually, how do they deal with Iran? I know that Barack Obama says he'll sit down with Ahmadinejad. I know that McCain says he's not going to play that game, and at one point saying bomb Iran. What do you make of these two guys? Are they going to help or hurt?
Well, it's a very serious question, and the question, I think, really needs to be framed this way. If war is really coming with Iran, if it's unavoidable, and I hope that it's not unavoidable, but if it is, who's the most qualified and experienced person to be the next commander-in-chief? Now, Senator Obama, he's got a big problem. First of all, he's got no military experience. He's got very little Washington experience. He doesn't know these world leaders, doesn't know our military leaders. So that's a challenge. But more importantly even than that, his first foreign policy move, Senator Obama's, upon entering the Oval Office next January, if he's elected, he says he will surrender in Iraq. He will pull U.S. forces out of the Middle East as rapidly as possible. This is not exactly going to send a message to make Iran fear us, much less stop building or buying or stealing nuclear weapons. That's the big danger on his part.
And conversely, what does John McCain do? Again, he's more of a hardliner, more like President Bush when it comes to the Middle East, certainly. What does he do to keep the pressure on Iran? Guess what? We've had sanctions there for almost 30 years. It's not working.
Yeah, the sanctions are not working. Unfortunately, diplomacy is not working. There's two tracks that have to be done simultaneously. First, don't surrender in Iraq. And that's what, of course, Senator McCain's position is to keep the pressure on in Iraq. But the next question is, how are we actually going to stop Iran from getting these weapons? We're getting to the point where it looks as though if sanctions and diplomacy aren't working, we may, in fact, have to resort to a massive air attack on Iranian nuclear facilities and air defenses.
I don't want to be the predictor of something so horrible happening. Let me ask you this. If, in fact, something like that would have to happen, wouldn't the Israelis do it first? And then what would we do in support of that? Would we verbally support them? Would we get in the planes and go and do the same thing? How would that go down in about 30 seconds?
Look, I don't think that the Israelis, they won't tell you this, but I don't think the Israelis have the capacity to neutralize Iran's nuclear threat. Okay. They don't have enough in the Air Force or long-range missiles. But the United States does. We have forces in Iraq, Afghanistan, Turkey, and the Persian Gulf. We could do it if we have to. The question is, who will make that call? And how much time do we have to make that decision?
So if we had to, we could. If Obama became the president, it probably wouldn't happen because he'd start pulling people out.
Well, exactly right. It's not clear that McCain would take that action.
Right.
But it's clear that that Obama would not.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. We appreciate the expertise.